welcoming our good friend Corey Parsons at the Fantasy Exec, senior content creator at NBC Sports Bet. How much snow did you guys get up there?
You know, I'm in South Carolina now, Rich, so I'm nothing.
Oh, I forgot about that. You're down south, just kind of just milking it down there in Carolina. What was it, like 50 degrees?
Right now, I'm looking at a beautiful, sunny 58-degree day, and I'm not bragging, Rich. I deserve it. As long as I've been in New York and Washington, D.C., I deserve these kind of days. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel for you guys, but I'm out of that life.
Yeah, you and I both, my friend. Absolutely. As they said in Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood said that Gene Hackman deserves, got nothing to do with it. So how about yesterday, right? You know, people are going to sit there, oh, the Chiefs didn't deserve that. They give them a shot to get back to. No, man, hey, you have an opportunity. Once again, a mini dagger going into the locker room. They elected to go for it. Should have taken the points. They would have went up again. What was it? It was 21-10, 24-10 by 14. What was your overall sentiment yesterday, your thoughts on late in the first half, some of the decision-making by Kansas City in that game against Cincy?
Like we've been talking to you right there in your listening audience and have been rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles for years. The knock against Andy Reid has always been some bad decision-making, some poor game management that came up to bite the Kansas City Chiefs at the end of the first half yesterday. I don't understand how analytics is telling people to leave points on the board. Like, are we using analytics as an excuse or for making stupid decisions in these situations? So in football, you don't leave points on the board, especially in games of these magnitude down the stretch like that. So you have 2 times this season where the Cincinnati Bengals have come from behind, big deficits on against the Chiefs to end up knocking them off. But listen, Kansas City did not deserve to go to the Super Bowl. They played bad. And the second half of that game, Patrick Mahomes did not do a good job at all. Threw an interception in overtime. Bad job by Pat Mahomes. So now we have it. Cinderella has been Super Bowl as Joe Burrow and the Bengals are in the big game.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes did not play well. And I heard Lombardi earlier today on our station. He wasn't speculating. He was curious, like, all right, was he hurt? And Tyler and I were kind of talking about the fact that his greatness, right, is also, unfortunately, his weakness. When to throw the ball away, when to live to fight another down. And the fact that he took those bad, ill-timed sacks late, I mean, granted, they still got the field goal, but you have an opportunity to punch it in and put Cincinnati away. He played particularly poorly in this second half. And, for as great as he is, he's got zero pocket awareness, man. I don't get it. Like, this is something that I feel as though he thinks it's a video game and he can just throw it up in the air and it's going to get caught, or he'll just somehow figure out a way to make a play.
Yeah, and you see here, the problem is, throughout the first few years of his career, we fawned at that. Even when they lost Super Bowl last year, he's throwing while he's falling down and throwing with his left hand and throwing behind the back like Magic Johnson in the football game. Everybody's like, oh, this is great. And you get to the season this year, and that foolishness stopped working. You see what I'm saying? And he was going to it too much and throwing interceptions. And, it looked like Patrick Mahomes was not paying attention to detail this season. It got to a point where it's down the road, real good coming towards the middle of the season, the end of the season. But for a lot of times this year, Patrick Mahomes looked like he was not paying attention to detail. That's something that him and Reed will have to get together with and work on during the offseason. This is still one of the great AFC teams. I would bet there'd be another AFC Championship game as they're building next year, but Patrick Mahomes has to play better.
Yeah, he does, and Andy has to, as he likes to say, well, he did it with the Eagles, put these guys in better position to make a play. Now let's give credit to Cincinnati and Burrow, who's basically a gunslinger, man. I mean, this guy is just, nothing bothers this kid, and I think that's part of his greatness, the swagger, the confidence, the cockiness. A couple big-time plays from some role players yesterday. Defense made some big stops as well. We were talking about it. I think Cincinnati, Tyler was telling me, plus 8,000 to get and win the Super Bowl prior to the season. So, to win the AFC. That's still, how about those odds?
Their win total coming into the season, projected win total was 6.5.
Wow.
And they're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it goes to show you right there, that they are Cinderella, what Burrow can do. The interesting thing about Burrow is we really just met this guy 2.5 years ago. And in that time, he has an historic national championship season.
Yep.
Wins the SEC, wins the national championship. I'm talking about beating Nick Saban in that big game, and that game was down in Baton Rouge. Then he goes on, to win the SEC over Georgia, beat Iowa and Clemson in the championship, and then you come to the NFL #1 draft pick, tear your ACL, come back and lead your team to the Super Bowl the next season in 2.5 years.
Yep, you're right. It's
crazy.
It's crazy, and it's funny because you're watching Cincinnati with Burrow, and Eagles fans are thinking that's how they envisioned Carson Wentz. That's what they wanted out of Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
And, Burrow's a stud, man. This kid's going to be an all-pro. We'll get to the game a little bit. We got plenty of time over the next 2 weeks. And then the NFC side of the ball, 49ers just have a confident quarterback, man. I think they're winning that game yesterday.
I think we give Jimmy G a lot of grief. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the biggest Jimmy G guy. But, when it comes to it, you know what I mean? He has played well. He's got to this team to the Super Bowl, got him 2 NFC championship games. You really can't ask for much more besides Super Bowl victories. You know what I'm saying? You kind of kicked him to the curb earlier this year when you traded up to go get Trey Lance. Now you got to figure out a way to start Trey Lance because you got to play. You know what I mean? So you got a tough situation with Jimmy G. I guess you could say he is the team's weakness. But, listen, they just got beat by a better team than the Rams, in my opinion. Dominated the Rams to this point. The Rams got the payback yesterday. So, Jimmy G's in a tough spot because he's not a bad quarterback, but I don't think he's the quarterback for the 49ers.
Yeah, we had a 3 out of 4 with a 4-prop parlay hit on all 3 quarterbacks, Burrow, Stafford, and Garoppolo over rushing yards. And then we had to sit back, and we were looking for that anytime Beckham touchdown. Didn't get it. Did you play anything in particular yesterday when it came to the games and/or player props?
I just handicapped the games yesterday. I tried to take a light approach. What I ended up doing was I money line parlayed the Chiefs and the Rams. So obviously that one didn't come through, right? But I was able to hop in. I caught the Bengals at plus 11.5 before halftime. So basically, I should have lost the bet. You know what I'm saying? But, was able to hang on and win that bet when the Chiefs don't score down there before half. So I was able to get that one in, made that in-game bet to kind of recoup some of that money lost from the parlay. And then after I lost the parlay, Rich, I'll be honest with you, I pushed all the chips to the middle of the table, put it on the Rams money line, and kind of got back to where I need to be to continue to grind. But that's all I really did. I did a lot in the wild card round and the divisional round. So yesterday I just kind of went with that one parlay and then had to go all in on the Rams. Thankfully that hit because who wants to make a deposit?
Yeah, right. It's funny, too. I was wondering down 21-3 in live betting what the odds were, in-game betting for Cincinnati down 18. That's I think – when they were down 21-3, I checked out social media and Twitter, and everyone's like, that's it. This is why they play the game, man. It's 4 quarters, and in yesterday's case, it was 4 and a couple minutes after that. But you never count a team out. In the NFL is getting everything they want. The only issues I had with CBS, the speakers during halftime were horrible. And then Romo, I pay attention a lot to the broadcast, like really. And Romo's talking about, well, you're up by 3, let them score. Then he's talking about certain plays that are going to be called at the goal. Romo did not have a very good AFC Championship broadcast.
And, that play with Mixon towards the end of the game, they went to the break without replaying it, and they barely spoke about it. And a lot of people mentioned today, and I noticed it yesterday, that very well could have been a fumble. Well, and they gave the ball back to the Chiefs. So, not a great. And listen, Romo's my favorite football player of all time. I love him as a broadcaster too. Not a great day yesterday for Romo. But here's how, Rich. The NFL gave us 5 straight last play playoff games.
Can't ask for anything.
The 4 from last week and the 1 from yesterday. That was all in a row. Yeah. And the game before that was the Cowboy and Niner game where Dak was and is the game, which could have been a shot to the end zone. So overall, very impressive playoffs. The talk of demise of the NFL is greatly exaggerated.
No doubt. And by the way, I know that Andy Reid called that timeout. That's not a reviewable play because at the end of the day, they were looking for a legal formation, which is not reviewable. So if Reid's challenging, right, it's a different animal. And then Fox picked up a couple good things yesterday. But to your point, exactly, for everyone that was screaming a couple of years ago with all the players protesting and their right to kneel, this and that, and people aren't going to watch the game anymore, that's BS, man. That's BS because they're all watching they're all watching the games. All right, lastly, before I let you get out of here, you have a very, very nice but light night in college hoops as well as the NBA. Any play tonight?
I got two that I like tonight. I always got one for you. I think the Heat don't have Jimmy Butler, don't have Kyle Lowry tonight, but they're catching 6.5 in Boston. I don't think Boston 6.5 points better than the Miami Heat. I don't care. They do have Bam. They do have Tyler Hero. They do have Gabe Vincent. I think that's an easy cover for the Heat. Also, the Hawks got that 7-game winning streak running.
Yep.
They play the Raptors tonight. I think the Raptors are going to give them all they can handle. I like the Raptors tonight. I like the Heat tonight. I would actually, if you want to hit a big one, if you want to hit a big one, right, I would moneyline the Heat and the Raptors, moneyline probably the Heat and the Raptors, and if you really want to get jiggy with it, throw the Clippers in there. The Clippers are catching 2 points tonight to the Pacers. The Pacers stink. Now, the Clippers been on the road since Thanksgiving, but you know what I'm saying? They keep looking at the Clippers. Rich, man, the Clippers, as terrible as the roster is, no Paul George, no Kawhi Leonard, they're going like a 7-game road trip, and they're knocking off teams.
I know.
And I'm like, they coming from behind 35. At 3, they came from behind this year, 35, 24, and 25. Do you ever catch the Clippers down 20 points? Sprinkle a little something on the money line because it's something this team does.
All right, brother. I always appreciate you. Hey, enjoy that 50 degrees. Keep hitting them. We'll talk next week. Always appreciate a couple moments, Pat.
My man.
All right, you got it. Be well. There you have it, my guy, Corey Parsons. Quick timeout. We'll clean up hour number 1.